It's great to be in Kalgoorlie for another Diggers and Dealers mining forum, and terrific to see such a large turnout. We'll be providing an update on Ardea Resources and our Australian first critical minerals collaboration with Sumitomo Metal Mining and Mitsubishi Corporation that'll enable us to move the Kalgoorlie nickel project to complete the DFS and into project development and production in a time that the world needs more Australian nickel and cobalt. So just in terms of the board and the entire Ardea team, we've got extensive resources sector experience from discovery through to project development and production, but particularly focused here in the eastern goldfields of Western Australia. We've maintained a very disciplined capital structure with under 200 million shares on issue. There's no debt, we're well funded, and we've got Sumitomo Metal Mining and Mitsubishi Corporation contributing $98.5 million to complete our in-progress DFS. Most importantly, very supportive and well-aligned shareholder base. Just in terms of our location, you can see the map of Western Australia in the upper left, and our projects that we collectively refer to as the Kalgoorlie Nickel Project are all located within about 100 kilometres of where we're standing today in the city of Kalgoorlie-Boulder. So our location's second to none. I just highlight the tenements in green. So that's what we refer to as the Goongarrie Hub, and that's the focus of the in-progress definitive feasibility study with Sumitomo Metal Mining and Mitsubishi Corporation progressively earning a 50% interest in our Goongarrie Hub. Then all of the other project tenements shown in red, Ardea retains 100%. They host 2 million tonnes of contained nickel and Goongarrie 4 million tonnes. So you can see collectively the Kalgoorlie Nickel Project hosts a very globally significant 6.1 million tonnes of contained nickel. This image highlights our Goongarrie Hub. We've now moved 70 kilometres northwest of the city of Kalgoorlie-Boulder, and you can see our ore reserves defined in red and the direct access to infrastructure links. So road, rail, we've got the gas pipeline 30 kilometres to our east, so you can't have a better location to develop a project, and that's certainly one of the key factors that's appealed to the Japanese consortium, and most importantly, access to the deep sea ports of Esperance on the south coast and Kwinana and Fremantle on the west coast. So what attracted the Japanese consortium to partner with Ardea on the Kalgoorlie Nickel Project? It's the global scale of the resource and it's our location. So it's that access to supply chain security and diversity. If we look at this image, it highlights that the majority of the world is classified as a high risk jurisdiction to secure your critical mineral supply. To give examples of that, we've got the current unrest taking place in New Caledonia, we've got the ongoing conflict in Ukraine. So this figure sort of highlights that Australia in particular is the best resources sector jurisdiction in the world, and at the top of that list is the eastern goldfields of Western Australia. In terms of the partnership with Sumitomo Metal Mining and Mitsubishi Corporation, our vehicle completing the definitive feasibility study is called Kalgoorlie Nickel Proprietary Limited. That's a wholly owned subsidiary of Ardea, and the consortium will be progressively earning a 50% interest in KMPL. And that'll start out with fully funding the in-progress DFS, and they will have earned a 35% interest in KMPL at the conclusion of the DFS. Most importantly, their 15% to take them from 35 to 50% is granted upon a final investment decision being made. So that means the project development capital's been secured and you're ready to start developing the project. So we've got the combination of the consortium's technical and commercial expertise to work with Ardea to make sure the full project value is realised. Ardea brings to the table our globally significant mineral resource, our ore reserve, and our local, state and federal relationships, including the granting of major project status by the federal government to help expedite the approvals process. Sumitomo Metal Mining are the world's most fully integrated nickel company. I've been able to visit their Nihama nickel refinery and downstream processing facilities. Their level of expertise is second to none, and they have 2 successful nickel laterite projects in operation in the Philippines. Then with Mitsubishi Corporation, they're a household name in Australia. They've been investing and supporting the Australian resources sector for many decades. They've been helping improvise and move forward and integrate the Australian resources sector. Last year I attended a Mitsubishi Corporation event, and they had paid at that stage over $10 billion in taxes, contributing directly to the Australian economy. We have aligned ourselves with the best possible partners to bring the Kalgoorlie Nickel Project Goongarrie Hub into production. That's also the low operating costs that have appealed to the Japanese consortium. So you see in the figures on this slide, our C1 operating cost, allowing for the cobalt byproduct credit, is in the bottom cost quartile. And then we see in the figure in the bottom right, this is independent research by Benchmark Mineral Intelligence. And currently, for a range of nickel products produced in Indonesia, there's OPEX between $5,000 and $15,000 US a tonne. Ardea's C1 OPEX, including the cobalt byproduct, less than $6,000 a tonne, and on a nickel-only basis, about $10,000 a tonne. So we can compete with the current commodity prices, and we'll be able to prevail throughout that price cycle and be incredibly profitable when our timing is perfect, as I'll go on to demonstrate. So what aspects contribute to our low operating costs? It's the predominance of what we call the goethite ore at Goongarrie. That's our dominant ore feed, comprising 69% of the mine plan. It's soft, it's friable, it's predominantly free dig. This is a large-scale mineral system, as you can see from the cross-sections on the right. You can see the nickel grade colour-coded, and the hot colours, the red and magenta, demonstrate the continuity in the nickel mineralisation in the north-south direction, and also the extensive across-strike mineralisation. So very much amenable to conventional, low-cost, low-strip ratio, open-pit mining. And then also, because of the soft goethite, minimum energy requirement for your comminution circuit, it's also a low acid consumer, which is our largest cost consumable. So these factors contribute to our low cost. And just a quick cross-section through Goongarrie South, demonstrating the extensive zones of mineralisation due to preferential weathering, up to 100 metres thick. And again, most laterites tend to be less than half that thickness. So these unique attributes contribute to our low OPEX. If we move to the Highway deposit, one of our satellite deposits about 30 kilometres north of Goongarrie, you can see the bottom core photo. So that orange-brown material is referred to as goethite. That will be screened, and then the coarse white nodules you can see there, that's called magnesite or mineralised neutraliser. It contains nickel and cobalt credits with the nickel grade between 0.4 to 1%. Every process operation that uses sulfuric acid to take their ore into solution needs to be neutralised so it can be safely disposed of in the environment. We will use mineralised neutraliser. Most projects have to import limestone at great cost, and then also have the added CO2 emissions through transporting that material to site. This is a research and development breakthrough by the Ardea team. In terms of ESG credentials, very strong, and they include in-pit tailings storage, so the neutralised tailings slurry will be disposed of in the open pit voids. It'll be allowed to dry out, leveraging off the semi-arid environment that we enjoy here in the eastern goldfields. Unlike the tropics where you've got high rainfall, seismicity and other issues to realise, the eastern goldfields is the perfect location to develop large-scale resource projects. So we'll continuously rehabilitate concurrent with mining for this plus 40-year operation. And our CO2 emissions, we've also demonstrated, are very low by industry standards, and we'll continue to drive them down with the in-progress DFS. So the DFS, well underway. We're recruiting personnel for KMPL and we feel our timing's spot on. We've got drilling underway on site at Goongarrie, metallurgical test work in progress in Perth, and we've got a series of specialist service providers working with the Ardea, KMPL, Sumitomo and Mitsubishi teams, and we will be generating incredibly strong news flow and anticipate to conclude the DFS in the second half of 2025. We demonstrated from a PFS that was concluded last year the large ore reserve and long life of this project. We only assessed 6 of 9 Goongarrie Hub deposits in the PFS and have defined a plus 40-year ore reserve. In reality, this project will be going for many, many decades, and it'll be going much longer than I will. We're going to be a significant contributor to the local economy. We also have a proud West Kalgoorlie office. We're part of the local community, but in the construction phase we'll be employing in excess of 3,000 people, and in steady state operations over 800 people. They'll be direct employees. There'll also be significant flow-on effects for indirect employment. We're very proud to be part of the local community, and we will be large contributors to the local, state and federal economies. I mentioned the timing for our project development being spot on. The nickel market is expected to move back into deficit from 2027, 2028, and we're seeing additional pressure on production through several projects being placed into suspension or care and maintenance here in Western Australia. We're moving forward with our project as quickly as we can. The nickel demand will continue through traditional uses such as stainless steel, electric vehicle batteries and large-scale energy storage. There's no substitute for nickel. And in response to that growing demand, the nickel price will continue to appreciate. So by the time we're in production in 2029, the nickel price will be significantly higher than it is today, but I've already demonstrated that we can cost competitively operate at current prices. We also have a very large tenement portfolio with ample opportunity to grow known laterite resources, but also make additional critical mineral discoveries such as the Emu Lake nickel sulphide discovery. We've got over a dozen targets ready to follow up, and that enables Ardea to continue to grow. Once the Goongarrie Hub's in production, we can work with the consortium to consider brownfields expansion, but also separate standalone development. So just in closing, we've demonstrated that Ardea's aligned themselves with the best possible partners with the technical expertise and balance sheet strength to see this globally significant nickel cobalt project get into development. We've defined a multi-decade ore reserve. We've got a local team. We enjoy fantastic support from the local community, the state of Western Australia and also the federal government. So I encourage you to come and see the Ardea team at booth 58, and if you've got any questions, to get yourselves set in the next large-scale, low-cost nickel producer here in the Eastern Goldfields. Thanks very much for your time.